Okay, so here we are, part 2 on June the 21st, 2012. Our reversal of numbers, 21, turned around backwards would be 12, 2012. Anyway, so in this particular video, let's talk about down the rabbit hole. What the bleep? In the movie, they talk about contradictions, ironies, situational ironies, paradoxes, light having a dual nature. Unless they have another theory, like mine, that I'm not talking about, that would explain why light contradicts itself in the double slit experiment. And what the other bars are compared to the original 2 bars that the electrons go through. And they haven't frozen an atom yet, so they really don't know how the atom is orbiting. They call the many different orbits of the elements, every element that gets heavier and heavier has more orbits of electrons. Heaviest ones being uranium. Gold has tons of electrons orbiting around it. But how do you know? At the actual physical, visual level, the observation level, which they talk about in the movie, they talk about observing and how observing changes things. So, if you're observing an electron, where did they get the idea that this cloud that's around the nucleus of any electron, of any element that has a proton, any element that has that proton has so many electrons around it, and therefore, if you remove one electron from gold, it becomes a different element, or does it? So, how do they know that there are? They call it shells, inner and outer shells. Each shell represents a circumventing, a circumference, excuse me. It represents a circumference all the way around the proton of the orbit of that particular electron. But it still gets down to visual. Now, IBM took atoms, and they spelled the name IBM with individual atoms. And that's because they got finally put to the point with an atomic microscope of being able to actually see the atoms. They actually showed what an atom looked like, generally, on a program of National Geographic's, I believe, and another program that was taped and done to show an electron. And there's kind of this cloud effect, a grayish cloud effect around. You can't see the proton because this cloudish effect is covering the electron. I mean, not the electron, the proton, the nucleus of the atom. So, where is this all going? Well, in watching the movie and talking all the different philosophies that we're talking about what perception is, what science says perception is, how religion comes into the picture, how they dazzle back and forth. There's a dualism between science and religion. There's a dualism in light. There is a dualism in positive and negative. There's a dualism in how electricity flows, or how we assume or hypothesize that electricity flows. When we stamp something and say that it's a fact, is it really a fact? How many experiments have been done? What was the backboard made of that the double slit experiment was made in? Why did you use water as an example to run through the double slit in order to prove that there are waves of interference? And where the waves interfere with each other, there are dark lines, and where the waves hit the high spot in an interference pattern, there are light bars. Then when you watch the electrons go through the slits, it goes back to a double slit pattern on the backboard. You see, the items that you're using in any of these experiments are made of the same finite elements on the elemental scale. What else can you use other than those elements? So where is this going again? And so, of course, the movie kind of mind boggles your mind because you're trying to figure out what these scientists are saying and why it's so important. Well, even towards the end of the movie, what's the real point to all of it? Can any of these different philosophies make me walk through walls? Can any, by believing in these philosophies, will my perceptions change so much that I can just snap my fingers and all my teeth will be back in my mouth? I'll be in possession of immortality. I'll have the greatest revenge against all those people who have done damage to me, stolen my cars, boats, trucks, or I can rematerialize everything, just boom, because I am master over the elemental scale? I don't think so. Things happen once, and they happen once because in the universe, that's just how it is. Energy transforms itself to matter, and matter transforms back to energy. I'm pushing my button here to make sure I still stay there. So, regardless of what the movie said, and I'll show the box for it again. See, the 3-disc set and 6 hours of additional interviews. Now, they interview also Ramtha, and Ramtha is a woman who claims that she has had contact with these other alien beings from other universes. But maybe they're not universes. See, even she doesn't know absolutely 100% for sure, except in her own mind, in her own perception, in her own observations. And each scientist that may present things to all of us, sure, we can accept it, we can deny it, just like we can choose to believe in God or not believe in God. I think in one of my videos I mentioned that Al Gore showed in Inconvenient Truth the first real picture of planet Earth that was actually taken from the spacecraft, from the astronauts. But the real picture that makes everybody see just how insignificant you are, if you can concentrate and realize, be aware of how big the solar system is and how big the Milky Way galaxy is and how small even the whole Milky Way galaxy is compared to the whole universe. So how small are we? Well, the Voyager spacecraft, JPL, decided to take a picture from the Voyager spacecraft and see if they could see Earth. Yes, they could. And I say this in one of my other videos. It is the dot on the end of the sentence explaining to you on an 8.5 by 11 page, the dot in normal print on an 8.5 by 11 page, that explains what the picture is. What the picture is. That dot. That's how big the Earth is. There's a little bit of kind of cloudy effect around it, but the picture exists. It's real. Now, observing that picture should actually throw huge alarms on in your head. Why would a God want to even bother? And you have to figure, what is God? Is God only a how big is God? Let's ask that. How big is God? If everything is connected, and we were connected in the original, and if the Big Bang Theory is correct, and it's all still theory, even if it's correct, how can something that was together and entangled be all separate? And yet, the information that science gives you is that if you, like in the movie What the Bleep, he bounces the ball, he says nothing ever really touches you. Well, then why does it hurt when somebody hits you? Why does it, again, yes, it hurts because certain reactions happen on the planet that actually help you to feel, to touch this microphone, and to give you sense. But if your body's gone, then the senses are gone. The whole process is gone. Your observation is even gone. You're worse off than a blind person. You can brain twist yourself into a total insanity trying to figure these things out. So the people leave it up to other people to figure it out. I mean, why bother? I mean, we have our cars, our trucks, our boats, our motorhomes. We call on each other. We turn each other in for the most menial reasons. We destroy a fellow neighbor's life over bullcrap. We ignore and neglect people when they're trying to ask us for help, like when I asked the White House for help. Send an email to us. Send a fax to us. And write emergency on it. That was in February of 2009. Nobody answered. Nobody cared, because the Obama administration is nothing but a puppet administration, and the media is controlled, and they want something, like I said, they spy on me. They take my information off YouTube. You may not, as a public, be, and as a public, you don't care whether my videos go viral or not, because the numbers of views that I have proves it. So you really don't care that there are other candidates running for president. You don't care that there are other candidates running for mayor or governor or sheriff. You don't care. And that's where humanity is making their biggest mistake. Because the end result is what matters. How this all ends. And it will end. And the sad part is that you people haven't learned anything at all. All you've done is you're like a bunch of cockroaches in a playground of advanced technology, or what you believe and perceive as advanced technology, and you're just using up the resources of the planet until finally there's nothing left, and everything starts to fall apart, and they haphazardly try to make some kind of control factors to direct it in a certain direction that would be at least the most beneficial compared to total anarchy or chaos. And then finally the end would come anyway, to the powerfully rich, to the middle class, and to the poor. But there are alternatives, and there are people like me who have those answers, but you think they want to share them with you when you're suppressing people like me, when you're not even caring to watch my videos? This is what makes all of you people evil, beyond the word evil. I'm at 12 minutes and 42 seconds. I am definitely sure that some of you thought, well, when is this guy going to get tired of taping videos? I mean, you know, he knows that we can't watch all of the videos, but I guarantee you the government has watched all of them, and I guarantee you they've had experts watch all of them, and they've taken notes on all the important new stuff or new discoveries I may have mentioned in all of my sentences, and that they don't care. They've already done their damage to me, and since I've said that there will never be common ground between us, then that pretty much sets it in stone. That I'm to live a life of wandering with no possessions, everything taken from me, everything auctioned off, live a life of sadness, loneliness, depression, a depression that was caused by your country. And no capability of making any kind of amends for all the hard work that I had done for more than 30 years. So, of course you're going to create people that hate this country. And then, on top of it, not even offering me a way out other than death. To get my feet off this land that you so lovingly love, this crappy country. To me, it's crappy. To you, it can be wonderful all you want to. It is an evil, sick, contradictory, decrepit. There aren't enough negative words in the universe to describe the evils of neglect and abuse that you people have done to me. And others like me. I'm not the only one. There have been like 2 people out of more than 6,000 people that have said, "You're not the only one." Their mentality is really faulty in a lot of different areas of their personalities. And that's how these people answer. That's why I started putting writings up there next to me that says, call the White House, hack the White House phones, go leave your comments to them. Those are the jerk-off puppets that work for the big money, the Bilderberg Group, the Trilateral Commission, the Council on Foreign Relations. It doesn't matter, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, all those a-holeless people. You know what an a-holeless person is? If it's a person who can't go to the bathroom and is full of it completely, that's why I don't call them a-holes, because they don't have a-holes. They can't go to the bathroom and relieve themselves. This is why they're full of it their whole lives. Part of that personality that neglects a person like me, that has either neglected or directly hurt me or applied a prejudicial law to me, is an a-holeless person, a jerk hole. They may have holes in their psychology, but they definitely don't have a hole where it's really needed. And if they ever do get one, oh my Lord, run outside of this universe. Go someplace else, because it's going to be a disaster. Talk about spaghetti hitting the fan. Woo! And the smell would be horrendous. So anyway, all right, so this is part 2 of me making my whatever comments there are for the day, and now I'm going to go off and wander every day and wonder where I'm going to be able to move, if I'm ever going to be able to move anything that I have left from what you people have stolen from me, your collective society. And I really do hope you all suffer some terrible pain in the future that's going to happen to you.